Hey, Monkey community. Hope everyone had a great Saturday. And checking in on the project, we're at 335,000 market cap, roughly flat over the last 24 hours. The floor looks good here. I've got the zoomed out chart here just to show. This is a great looking chart, and we are extremely early. I'm talking a little bit about how it feels to be so early. It can seem like you're wrong when you're this early, right? Folks might say, hey, you know, it's not going to regain its glory days. But that's because we're just incredibly early. And it's still a great narrative, still a great community. Everything looks good with Monkey. To me, it's a perfect setup. And the chart is holding up great. And remember, the consolidation here is actually really good for Monkey. The holder base is getting stronger as time goes by. And if you're extremely early, you can behave differently. You can have an accumulation mindset where you're more focused on accumulating. You're actually somewhat happy that it's trading sideways. Now, if you have the wrong mindset, you might think, hey, why doesn't this thing go up? And stress out about it a little bit. But if you have the long-term mindset, and if you know you're extremely early, and you can picture this thing being at 3 million, 30 million, 300 million, then you're not worried at all. You're getting a $300 million or $1 billion coin at 335,000 market cap. You don't mind it staying at this point because you have that accumulation mindset. So the short-term price doesn't matter. You know what you're holding, and it just changes the way you look at it. So as you guys know, I'm doing this daily DCA, and it makes it super easy. I'm just accumulating, and at some point, this is kind of simplifying it, but only those with conviction will remain, and there'll be no sellers left. And you've heard people say that, hey, there's no sellers left. If you got something that bottoms out, the folks that are in for a quick buck are no longer in. Now, some are going to join as we go up, and that's going to lead to the chart being a little bit choppy at times, even though we have a great community. There's going to be others. Even some of the community might take profits. I'm not mad at you for that. But basically, essentially, there's going to be no more sellers left. We're going to be all diamond hand community members that are holding for the long term. And that's why the consolidation, the accumulation phase is so important. And just a real simple example, I've been doing the DCA thing. I know Bryce is as well, and others are probably doing without publicizing it, just adding over these many months here, probably since October. And look at how it increases the quality of the holder base. You can see here in just in this DCA wallet for the last 66 days or whatever, I've got 6 million monkey already. And unless things start going crazy and we blast back up to the all-time high, I'm going to keep on buying, and this is going to eventually hit 1%, right? And then so this is just another bag that I hold that has 1%. And because of that, this supply is in my hands, and I'm a community member. I love Monkey. I'm going to hold it. I'm not going to sell it when we get to 3 million or 30 million or whatever. I'm going to keep on holding, right? And so because of that, that's what I mean. The holder base is getting stronger. Now imagine you have 30, 40, 50 diehard community members, and they're all doing something similar, gradually adding. And as weak hands sell, the strong hands, the diamond hands add, and you can see, that churn is kind of helping the community base get even stronger over time. That's why time is our friend when we're extremely early like this. And so try to change your mindset. If you're a believer in Monkey and you're stressing out about the chart, and I do understand we have different goals. Some people might need money right away. I get that. But those things aside, just think about it as an opportunity to accumulate more, make that foundation even stronger for when we run. Because remember, when we start seeing the green candles, there's going to be a temptation to sell and take profits when we get to 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, 10 million. And the more you change your mindset, the less likely you are to do that. And that's how we send even harder. So I think that's my thesis, and I'm sticking to it. The setup's perfect for Monkey, and I'm excited to see where we go. And some folks ask me, what's my prediction for the coin? And I tell them I'm just a holder. I don't make predictions like that. I love Monkey. I think we have an incredible community and a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I'm treating it as such. But I don't know the timing. I don't know what's going to kick this thing off, what the catalyst is going to be, or that spark to set this thing off. I just think is a perfect setup to absolutely run when we get that catalyst. And we're all working at it, right? We're shilling people, we're creating content, we're doing spaces now, and I think we're just going to keep on moving, and we're going to get the right people on board, and then we're going to eventually send. All right, let's look at the news. All right, so CZ was pretty active on X today, and he posted in response to Blade mentioning that the US SEC removes crypto from its 2026 priority risk list, bullish for crypto. So that presumably means they're not going to be looking into crypto, and the feds will leave crypto alone, which is definitely bullish. They can just let us build and move forward. And CZ says I could be wrong, but super cycle incoming, and that means we're going to be free to let this thing run. So that's bullish news from CZ here. And Young Hoon Kim, he's been in the timeline a lot because he's posting crypto stuff. He says this is how super cycles start. Remember, he's the, I don't know what the title is, world's smartest man or highest IQ. Anyways, he's a smart guy, but he thinks crypto is going to run. And he's saying the super cycle is starting now. He also has some wild predictions for Bitcoin. And so it's interesting arc for this guy. And I think he's got a meme coin or something. Yeah, looks like he's got some kind of coin in his bio as well. So, I mean, even the world's richest guy got to make money somehow. So anyway, he's bullish on crypto. Iced says 100 million runners are back and people aren't paying enough attention. We definitely aren't paying enough attention here. We're waiting for our monkey to run like this. But to his point, it's good news that the runners are back. So white whale, if you're in, great. If you're not, still great news for crypto as a whole. I think we've got the best coin here, the best community I think we run. And the fact that white whale's doing it and people see that, remember that changes the way people look at coins. They no longer are going to immediately think, oh, I got to dump it when I get to 5 million. If we are holding and we're strong, we can pass 5, 10 million and keep on running like white whale. So the mindset of folks can be changed when we have multiple runners like this. Ansem says crypto is the only market in the world where something can go from 0 to 100 million in less than a month. For this reason alone, meme coins will never die. And he's right. We have that vision of Monkey doing this and hitting that 100 million and more, and it can happen quickly. And I think we're setting it up so that it will happen when the time is right. And so I'm personally accumulating just to be in position for when that happens, and just believe in something, buy and hold and chill. And I think we're going to be in good shape. But he's right. Meme coins are the only thing that can really do this. Everything else is takes a bit more time and a bit more investment. You can invest a small amount in memes and make a lot of money. I think that's what we're all here for. And then along the way, we're having fun and getting to know the other community members. Sniper says the reason Wojak is sitting at 25 million while White Whale's at 200 million is simple supply control. One of the worst things you can do is let thousands of shrimps own meaningful chunks of your supply. That's how you get endless cheats, no coordination, and permanent chop. Gone are the days of organic community cope. Times have changed. I agree with him, and I understand what he's talking about with the supply control. But looking back at Monkey, remember we've had this accumulation zone, so we're getting diehard community members that are increasing the supply that they hold. And so this is kind of the old school way of doing it. It's not this bundled supply, which seems to be working for White Whale, but this is similar. But the community owns the supply, and the community is bought in, and we encourage each other to hold for the long term. And so this setup here for Monkey is kind of the old school community. So I understand what Sniper's saying here, but I somewhat disagree. Times have changed simply because the white whale's doing that. But I think an old school organic community can actually run. And I think we're going to show that when we get to that point where we start seeing those green candles come in, and we encourage each other to hold and just let that price go up. Cryptoshi says you have to be extremely delusional and autistic to make life-changing money in crypto. So he's talking about life-changing money here, not a big trade or a good trade or multiple good trades. He's saying life-changing money. He says coins are up 1,000, don't sell. Coins are up 10,000, keep holding. Coins are up 100,000, still holding. This takes a MFR that is built different, an extremely strong mindset. You have to think, I'm here to retire my bloodline and will accept nothing less. Yeah, you will take some losses sometimes from round tripping, but eventually you will hold for that 1000x. So we all have different history in crypto, but I think we've found the coin that's going to be that 1000x for us. We have to be delusional a bit and believe it and work hard and be willing to hold when others would normally sell and take profits. And I'm not saying don't take profits. I'm just saying keep a moon bag, make sure you're ready, because I do think we're going to run up to 10 million, 50 million, 100 million. And the longer we hold, the higher we can go. Lil Toro says, Trader's paradox, the more you chase trades, the more losses you create. The moment you stop forcing trades, real opportunities appear. So don't force it and think, oh, I missed white whale or whatever it is. Let me find the next, you know, runner at 50,000 that's going to run up to 20 million overnight. Those do exist, but you're chasing them, you're chasing them, you're chasing them, you're losing. You're losing. And the moment you stop forcing it and saying, I like monkey, I'm going to buy and hold it, and you stop forcing it, Lil Toro says that's when the real opportunities appear. So if you just take a step back and think about it, monkey's the best deal right now. It's a great coin. I think we do run soon. Voided says, listen, nobody said it would be easy, so never ever give up when it gets hard. So it's just a way of life. It's going to be hard to hold and shill monkey and stay upbeat when things are trading sideways. But when we hit those green candles, that's when it gets easier and we can relax and reap the benefits. But when it gets hard, we still have to keep on pushing. We've got an old one from Donald Trump. Someone reposted this in the timeline. I thought it was good and kind of applies to us here. Be focused, be disciplined, be patient. There are very few cases of instant gratification. That's something I like to focus on, the fact that nothing's going to happen overnight. Sometimes it does, and those are the stories you hear about. But normally you have to be focused, disciplined, and patient to see those rewards, especially the life-changing rewards. And like Trump says here, there are very few cases of instant gratification, and we kind of want that dopamine hit where we see those green candles we hit. We need that every day. But for generational wealth, grab a coin like Monkey, shill it, work the bag, and that's the way that you make that generational wealth. X says maybe this is the bottom, maybe it isn't, but here's a fact. We are 100,000 miles away from the top, which means the only logical move right now is to abuse the buy button. And I'm doing exactly that every single day, Super Cycle 2.0. And I agree with that. For Monkey, we don't know when it's going to run. We don't know if it's going to go lower, if it's hit that bottom again, or if we're even at the bottom. But what we do know is where Monkey's going. So what X is saying here, the only logical move is to hit that buy button. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Why would I not buy Monkey at 300,000 when I know it's easily a 3 million or 30 million coin and much higher than that, right? Why would I not buy this? Why would I buy something else? It's because, we need that dopamine hit. We need it to hit and go up right away. But with Monkey, we know we're nowhere near the top, right? So that means hit that buy button over and over again. So he says every single day. I agree with that. It's easy to do it every single day if you do it every single day. If you normally, buy every 2 weeks and it's 200 bucks or whatever, you can split that up and just buy each day perhaps, or once a week, or just make it regular. That's what I do. If you're believing, that makes it a lot easier, less emotional. You're not looking to time it or anything like that. So I like this post from Max. He's saying abuse that buy button every single day. We saw this post from Blade already. Gordon says generational wealth isn't built by people who need to be right or have their opinions validated. It's built by people who are willing to look wrong for a long time before everyone else catches up. Got it? I think this definitely applies to Monkey, is we're building generational wealth here. In order to secure that, you have to have this bottomed out chart that we see right here. Every once in a while you can, like we see the guy who spent 100 bucks or whatever, one sol on white whale, and he's ran it way up. That does happen sometimes, but more often than not it's something like this, where you look wrong. People think you're crazy. You're buying this thing every day, but you know where it's going and you hold, you've got the conviction. That's how we get that generational wealth. it's harder to get generational wealth than it is to make a big trade and get a new car, get whatever. Generational wealth requires that 1000x from buying and holding and being patient and not being afraid to look wrong for a while. Andy Leon says true value lies in people, not market caps. I think when I hit that buy button every day, I'm investing in the community. I know that the community is strong and that folks are out there, even when I'm at work or away from my computer, they're out there working for my bags, which I appreciate. And I like to think I do the same for everybody else too, where we come with that consistency, and that's what you're buying into. You're buying into this community that really wants to see this thing succeed. Bitcoin Magazine says Senator Tim Scott says upcoming Bitcoin and crypto market structure legislation is about making America the crypto capital of the world. America is embracing Bitcoin, and I think getting some of this legislative stuff pushed through is really going to help the crypto markets keep building, and it's going to be great for the next 3 years at least. And I think this is laying the foundation for many more years of a bullish crypto market. CZ says, well, you were panic selling. U.S. banks were loading up on Bitcoin. And he says Wells Fargo just purchased 383 million worth of Bitcoin. U.S. banks are loading up. And we know that there's some manipulation going on and that these banks understand the value of crypto now. And I feel the same way about Monke. If anyone's panic selling, the community members are loading up and we're just getting that at a great price. And I think that just makes it so that we run even harder because the true believers are holding on to the supply. Andy Leon says conviction equals success. If you have that conviction, that means you're willing to work hard. You know what you're holding. You have a desire to see it move for your own sake, obviously, and then also the sake of the community. That's going to lead to success if you have that conviction. You can't have true success generationally for that generational wealth without the conviction, in my opinion. Finally, Dawn says every major bull run felt uncomfortable at the start. Doubt was loud, liquidity looked quiet, then the switch flipped. QE always returns, risk always follows. Those who stayed patient didn't just win, they changed their lives. I think that's it. Looks quiet. You have a chart like this. Now's the time where we can change our lives. Accumulate, hold, don't give up, and keep on moving. And I think we have a great chance at making history here. And I'm looking forward to what the next few months has to offer and obviously the rest of the year as well. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you tomorrow.